So Jesse's all dressed up here, doing some soda blasting of these pistons. We're going to apply a new skirt coating and also a ceramic coating to the crown on these things, just because. So gonna experiment with that. But yeah, here he's cleaning them up with the soda blast.
So the soda blast is non-abrasive. It just removes the carbon, doesn't touch the metal at all. It's a beautiful tool to have.
And it's very water soluble as well.
You see, it took it right out of the serial number. And check out how effective it is at removing the Teflon off side skirts. There you
go. Yeah, the beautiful part is the baking soda will just get carried away with the snow out here. Well, here's the pistons after soda blasting. Rinsed them off with water, blasted them with compressed air. So now they are ready for masking and coating. Here's a pile of stock pistons we're blasting with this method today. Those are mostly K20 and K24 pistons. So Jesse's just masking the side of the pistons just around the ring grooves. Next step, now that we've cleaned all the carbon off with soda, is to blast the crowns so the ceramic coating has a good surface to stick to. All right, so Jesse just finished sandblasting the crowns on these things. So you got to do that to give it a rougher finish. Now he's just taking the masking tape off. We did that to protect the ringlands from the sand. Yeah, here's one of the other ones. So we're gonna put a ceramic coating on these pistons and fresh Teflon coating on the skirts. So here's the set of 4. Jesse's gonna get the side skirt coating on tonight, and we're gonna pick up some coating for the crown, and then he'll get that sprayed later in the week. And then these pistons will be ready to go, hopefully in time for my rods to be resized, new bearings to show up. So hopefully next weekend I can get the motor back together and ready to go back in, but I got to do some stuff with the transmission as well, so might be a couple of weeks before everything's back in, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I got my Skunk 2 Ultra Street intake manifold here. I noticed when putting the gasket up on it, it doesn't mate up with the ports all that well. I did the same thing to my head, and it's like almost a perfect fit. So yeah, the most concerning thing is that there's like this fairly large overhang on the corners of the port here, and then also the gasket intrudes on the injector hole, which I don't know how much of an issue that's going to cause, but I can't imagine it's great for the injector spray pattern. And if it's disturbing that, then it's going to be affecting the way the fuel's atomizing. So yeah, I'm gonna just grind this out a bit to just so the port matches the gasket down here and the gasket matches the port up here. And then I'll transfer this gasket over to the head, and I'll make the few adjustments I need to make there. It shouldn't be anything major. So I kind of roughed this this one port open. Down here, the port needed to be opened up a little bit to match the gasket, as you can kind of see over here. And then up in these corners here, the gasket was actually overhanging, so yeah, I just trimmed the gasket back a bit with the die grinder. And then I kind of just ground this up with the die grinder so you guys can visualize kind of how far off alignment this injector port is. Like I cannot see that being good for a clean flow through the path of the injector. So you can see there's one before I've ground up there with the die grinder, and there it is just with the notch up. So I'm gonna obviously grind the rest of that gasket material away in that injector port, just so it's not interrupted, and then do the same job with the rest of these ports. And then whatever shape that gasket comes out, I'm gonna transfer it over to the cylinder head and make it match over there. So just for reference, here's the cleaned up port and gasket on this cylinder, and then here is the way it is with the way the Skunk 2 port is cast. It's pretty damn bad, actually, in my opinion, the way these runners are cast. It just does not line up with the gasket. It doesn't line up with the ports on the head. See, here's the way the stock gasket lines up with the stock port in the head. It's pretty much perfect. And then here's the gasket after I've matched it up with the Skunk 2 port, so roughly at least. So I'm gonna make it look a little nicer, but also yeah, just make it so the ports match a lot better, because as you can see, there was like this reasonably large sized wall that the airflow was hitting, just due to the way this intake port is cast. Not to mention that overhang I showed you guys on the injector hole. So hopefully this adds up to something, but it may be a bunch of work for nothing. It'll just make me feel better, if nothing else. All right, so I'm just finishing up doing the last of the rough bulk material removal on these runners. So yeah, this is me going away at it.
So we blasted both the piston side skirts and tops using 100 grit sand. about 60 to 80 psi. It's a little bit more aggressive than the Cerakote instructions would call for. We got a really good profile here. Everything's looking great. These ones have already got a Teflon on the side. Now we're going to bake them at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. We'll drive out any remaining oil or water from the metal itself, give them a final clean, tape them up. And then on the Wiseco forged pistons here, we're going to be doing a Cerakote Microslick on the side, and then their top coat, Piston Coat product on the top. These guys will just get the piston top coat. So we'll get a couple shots of that while we're doing it as well.
All right, so we're gonna spray some Cerakote Microslick here. It's a really thin coating. Doesn't take a lot. You basically just hit it with one good wet coat.
So here's the pistons for the CRV. Jesse got the skirt coating done. It's a Cerakote Microslick. So we're still gonna coat the crowns. We're just waiting for the crown coating to show up. Should be here in the next couple days. And then he's gonna shoot the crown coating on the weekend, and hopefully my bearings also show up. And if that's the case, then the whole bottom end at least can go back together. All right, so I'm just cleaning up the plenum side of the runners now. I don't see anything too major to improve here, but what I'm kind of doing is just trying to smooth out the casting marks that are on the sides here. And then there's another casting mark in this area in each runner, so I'm just trying to smooth that down. I don't know if any of this is really going to add up to much, but it's something I wanted to do while I was in here. It's because I am, so. Alright, so I'm just in the middle of porting the cylinder head. Trying to keep it pretty basic, not removing a ton of material other than where there's like obvious defects. We noticed some pretty severe mismatch between the Skunk 2 intake manifold and the intake ports. The factory intake manifold has a pretty good port match. So I sprayed some red paint into the ports here to kind of create a pattern on the head to show me where I needed to remove material. So I've since opened that up in some of these areas, mostly in the corners. These upper corners needed removal, and then there was also a huge mismatch that I pointed out earlier for this channel that the injectors shoot down. So I opened those up. Right now I've just done the rough pass with the carbide burr from this side. I got to remove my valves and everything still, but yeah, I got the bulk of the material out from this side on the intake, and then on the exhaust I'm just kind of getting started here. There's not I don't have the mismatch issue to deal with over here, but yeah, I'm just kind of getting started on this, opening these ports up a bit. I'm gonna probably open the exhausts up decently, just because I do plan on running quite a bit of boost. The intake, when you open them up, can make things lazy in the low end. The exhaust doesn't have that effect to the same degree, and it's got more benefits to be had in the higher boost range by opening these up. So yeah, gonna finish doing the rough cut on these exhaust ports, and then do the bowls, and then probably do some opening up of the combustion chamber as well. So should have that done in the next day or so. That's where we're at with this thing.